Hello, guys. Welcome back to Behind Closed Doors. Today we are comfy. We are in bed because we have a big conversation. I want to I want to speak about being the eldest daughter. I want to speak about being the parentified child in your family and why your worth is not actually determined by how much you can do in the world or how much you can do for people or how helpful you can be. This has been something that I have been working through for a long time, to be really honest, but it's really just come up in the last, I'd say, like 3 to 6 months, where I genuinely did not know who I was outside of helping, serving, nurturing, protecting, hyping people up, raising people to their next vibrational frequency. I did not know that my worth could be determined by something other than how much I could be helping or supporting people. Now, if you are also watching this and you are an eldest daughter, or maybe you're just the parentified child in your family and you've always had to be that parental figure and support people and nurture people and hold space and listen and fix and save, and if you are just the natural savior in your life with people in your life, then this episode is really going to open your fucking eyes. The reason being is when we believe through a lot of built evidence, right? When we believe that our worth is only determined by what we can do for others, it's going to be quite difficult to reprogram that in real time. Because when you are wanting to be selfish or achieve your own dreams or have your own aspirations or actually just no longer fix people, save them, and let them drown in their existence, it's going to feel wrong. And for me, that was exactly what it felt like. It felt like if I put other people before me, that I was inherently doing something incorrect. Like threat level here. What do you mean you don't want to help people, Ren? What do you mean you don't want to listen to people's problems? What do you mean you don't want to save that person from themselves, save them from a burning fucking building? What do you mean that your existence is more than what you can do for people? These were the types of questions I was sitting with, or statements even. And the amount of shame, the amount of guilt that I was feeling was fucking insane. And the most insane part about that is I am living my own life. I am not responsible for anyone else. You are not responsible for anyone else's emotional, mental, spiritual, physical well-being unless you have children, right? But you are a conscious, breathing adult, and the only person you need to be responsible for is you. So why, as eldest daughters, are we taught the opposite? Why is it my role in society to support my friend who's going through something for the 14th fucking time in a row? Why is it my job? Why is it my responsibility to be my family's therapist? Why is it my job, my responsibility to be the therapist, the caregiver, the mother in my relationships? Why is that on my shoulders? And why is no one else fucking taking that burden? Right? So this is a really important conversation because what I have learned in the last 6 months is that I actually exist outside of this, which means you do as well. And it's one of those things where until you're out of the situations which allow you to play out those roles of being the saver, being the fixer, being the savior, right? Until you're out of those relationships, friendships, like whatever fucking dynamics, you don't see it for what it is. You don't see that your worth is actually only riding on whether you're helpful or beneficial for others. And as a result of that, your life, you genuinely believe, and this was my inherent, like this was literally my belief system. I only existed to support others. And if I wasn't doing shit for the benefit of other people, it was wrong. Yeah. So imagine what that does for your self confidence, your self respect, your ambition, your drive, your dedication, your goals. All of that goes out the window. All of that becomes a second thought because it's actually not going to benefit anyone. It's just going to benefit me. So achieving my wildest dreams and aspirations, right? Being single, having ambition, no longer picking up the phone when people call, no longer fixing your circus and your fucking monkeys. That doesn't support you and your experience, but fuck me, does it support me and mine. And to do that is to disappoint people. To do that is to let people down. And as a result, you're actually going to find yourself. Because here's the thing, when you were raised in a family dynamic where you were the third parent in that household, or the first or the second, you learn that your worth, your love, the attention, the reciprocation of energy is only going to be given to you as a reward of how helpful or useful, Rudy, no, helpful or useful you can be. You're trying to eat the fucking power plug. So, like I said, I was navigating a lot of shame and a lot of guilt because what do you mean I'm allowed to not fix your problem? What do you mean I actually don't have to be the saver? I don't have to save you from the burning building. I don't have to teach you how to swim. I don't have to do that anymore. What do you actually fucking mean? And these were things that I was navigating with my therapist and behind closed doors. And I wasn't really talking about it because I genuinely did not understand how deep it ran of me being conditioned to believe that my worth was only determined by what I could do for others. I didn't realize how much of a influence and impact it was having on the way I spoke, the way I dressed, the way I showed up online, the way I showed up with my clients, the way that I could just actually not have fun, be playful, or be present in friendships, relationships, even posting on social media, because I was so worried about coming across as this articulate, prim and proper woman who had her shit together, so then she could therefore help you get your shit together. But that's not who I am to my core, right? And this is what we get to really explore. We get to explore who we are if we're not playing into the identity, if we're not playing into the archetype. And I think it's one of those things that we actually need to learn quickly. Because here's the thing, and I'm so sorry to say it. If you know, you know. Who are you if you're not helping? Do you actually know how to have a normal fucking conversation with someone? Do you know how to be present? Do you know how to actually feel your full range of emotion if you're not suppressing it because it's going to then become too much or too uncomfortable for someone else to deal with because they're dealing with their own shit and you inherently believe that you only can deal with your shit after you help others? Do you know what that feels like? What are your dreams? What are your goals? What's the thing that lights your soul on fire that you would actually put all your energy, time, money, and resources into if you didn't actually exist to do that for others? These are the questions that you actually have to get curious about, because I'm going to put money on the fact that you've probably never done it, because I fucking hadn't. And I've done a lot of shadow work in my lifetime. Okay, I've had a lot of fucking coaches, and did not one person bring up the identity of being the eldest daughter, the fixer, the Bob, the builder. And this is the thing, until you start to ask yourself those really uncomfortable questions and sit in the silence, sit in the uncertainty, for lack of better language, sit with the fucked up feeling that you don't know who you are, nothing in your life will change. And there's a level of freedom, liberation, for lack of better language, that you step into when you finally decide to just be yourself and stop solving other people's fucking crisis, whatever the language is. But this is the thing with being the eldest daughter. You've been fixing, you've been nurturing, you've been holding space, you've been listening, you've been the good girl, you've been rewarded. Every time you helped mummy or daddy, or you helped your grandma or your grandpa, there was a reward for your behavior. You're such a good listener, right? You're so attentive. Yappa, 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 yappa. That's great, and that serves a purpose until you realize that that purpose is not your actual purpose in life, and you are so fucking angry, resentful, and frustrated because of that. And you would actually be shocked if you took the time to sit your sorry fucking ass down, speaking from experience, and just get really honest about where that constant buzzing of anger comes from in your body, or that constant feeling of frustration, resentment, rage. Who is it actually towards? Why is it there? Why are you always in a foul mood? Why are you always having an attitude? Because here's the thing, it's probably because you're so fucking resentful because you've been living everyone else's depiction of what your life should be and you're not actually living for yourself. And so that's what I had to sit with. And it was so fucking uncomfortable. And it actually felt wrong in my body to admit that I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I actually wanted to do because I had always dumbed it down. I had always made it easier. I had always made it more digestible for the fuck ass losers around me who just couldn't match my vibe. I would always dumb down or act less confident or less self-assured to make other people comfortable with my existence. No wonder you're tired. No wonder you're burnt out, babe. No wonder you're fucking exhausted. When we are constantly performing for a world which benefits from us being smaller, it's exhausting. And you don't actually realize you're doing it because you get so much attention and so much love and so much validation for being the eldest daughter, for being the good girl, for being the woman who has her shit together. And you can sit there and you can go, no, I don't. I fucking hate my life. But there's a little part of you which fucking thrives off people coming to you for solutions. Hey. And when they don't, it's like, why aren't you coming to me with your problem? Because being the solver, the fixer for people in our lives makes us as eldest daughters feel needed. And if you had a similar experience and upbringing as I did, feeling needed equals feeling loved. So you go through the world just like I did, and you don't even realize that you're actually not present in your relationships. You're not actually present with your friends. You're actually not fulfilling your dreams and desires because you inherently believe that you can't have those things until you do XYZ for other people. And that is like the double-edged sword, right? Because to our ego, it feels incredible. Feels incredible to be the woman who has her shit together. No one knows that you're struggling behind closed doors. No one knows that you're navigating life. Everyone just thinks you're cool, calm, and fucking collected, right? And that fuels that perfectionism wound that so many eldest daughters have. And that allows you to feel in control of your life, right? But that's actually not who you are to your core at all. And you're probably quite lost, feeling quite misunderstood, feeling isolated. And it's not until you sit down and you really get curious about why those things exist, where those roles come from, the first time you had to fucking practice being the mum in your family dynamic, do you then realize how much of your internal suppression, your internal world has been suppressed. And it was even simple things. And I remember saying this to my therapist, like, what does your day look like? Why do you think it is that you struggle to follow through on your word, looking after your health, your emotional well-being, doing your fucking affirmations, your workout, your dancing in the mirror, whatever the fuck your thing is? Why do you think you struggle with that? Do you think it's because you're lazy and you're lacking discipline? No, it's because you've been brought up and conditioned in a society which literally benefits off you forgetting about your needs, So why would you prioritize your health? Why would you prioritize being the hottest, happiest, richest, most successful version of you? Why the fuck would you do that? That's going to take away time, money, energy, resources from other people's experience. Therefore, that doesn't benefit them. And this is why I always see the most beautiful women, right? Driven, ambitious, bold, curious, confident, vivacious energy. And you're always fucking drained because somewhere along the line, you forgot that it was your life. And it is actually that fucking deep because I literally experienced it so many fucking times. Enough times now to have learnt the lesson. Thank Jesus. And it's gotten to the point now where like I don't want anything other than me achieving what I am fucking destined to achieve. I'm not fixing you. I'm not even listening. I'm not even entertaining your drama, chaos filled life. If you want to play the victim in your experience, that's fine. It's actually not my personal role. I'm actually not assigned. I'm not getting paid to fix your life for you. And this is where we realize that the praise and the validation that we received as we were growing up by helping and solving, folding the washing, using our initiative, being the therapist for our mothers, things like that, that does not get me the life I want. That gets me the life that I think I deserve based on other people's emotional standpoints, emotional well-being, opinions, projections. That is not what I want. That is what I think I deserve. Two very different things. So I want you to just ask yourself this question for a second, okay? Like really be with this. Who the fuck are you outside of being an eldest daughter? If you weren't a massive control freak, a perfectionist, prior planning, always organized, always articulating yourself perfectly so the other person can comprehend your statement correctly. If you're not fixing, if you're not Bob the fucking builder, who are you? Because if you're anything like me, you didn't have a fucking clue. And it got to a point where I was not having fun in my life. I wasn't present in conversations because I was compartmentalizing my experience to then cater better to yours in my life. And this is where I believe we need to start getting a little bit more audacious, a little bit angrier, because why are you not achieving everything you want, dude? Why are you not disappointing your family more? Why are you not standing up and going, I don't actually care? Sorry, I'm in my selfish era. I'm in my villain era. Because if you're not in your villain era, you're in your victim one. You're pretending like you've got no control over your life, but you've just spent your whole life controlling other people. What do you mean you don't have control over your life? What if you put half of the amount of energy that you put into other people right the fuck back into yourself? You'd finally achieve your dreams. You'd finally get the body of your dreams. You'd finally feel fulfilled in life by being present, happy, joyful, playful. You would finally have that feeling of fulfillment because you're not being energetically drained by people who are happy to suffer. Right? And if we really want to go deep, who was the first person in your life that you witnessed constantly suffering for fun? Fucking clock that T, because that is actually how deep this shit goes. It is actually that deep. And you don't realize it until you're outside of that identity. You don't realize it until you are looking at it with a zoomed out lens and you're going, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And I believe this is what people call like their midlife crisis. You finally wake up and realize that everything you have been doing is to please your family, please your partner, keep the fucking peace, or to benefit other people's existence. And guess the fuck what, bitch? We are not doing that anymore. Until you realize that that identity served a purpose and that purpose has now changed, it's now transformed, right? You have grown up. Nothing in your life will change. And it is about disappointing people, and it is about letting people down, and it is about realizing like you are worthy, you are lovable, you are good enough, you are highly fucking capable without doing anything for other people. You get to just exist, and that gets to be enough. Because everyone else is just fucking existing, taking all your energy, all your time, all your money, all your resources, right? They just exist in your world, yet they are able to get everything that they want from you, but you all of a sudden couldn't get the same? No, that's not how it works. And I know it's hard to even fathom that this is like the pattern that you're in, but it's probably one of the biggest life lessons that you're going to learn. And that's why I always say to my clients, just be a little bit useless, you know? Not inconsiderate, not rude, but just a little bit of a pain in the ass, you know? Don't make it so easy for people to get what they want out of you. Make sure that people are reciprocating your energy. Make sure that you're not feeling like you have to solve or teach or build people's potential, right? And an audit you can do right the fuck now. Right the fuck now. Who in your life are you holding to a standard of potential? Who in your life do you feel like you are above? Big fucking shark in a tiny fuck ass pond. Where does that dynamic play out? Because that dynamic is what you have only experienced your whole life. So to imagine that you could be the little fish in a big pond, you could be with people on the same wavelength, you could not have to nurture or solve or protect other people and actually give that energy, that time, that fucking value back into yourself is such a wild concept. But that's the audit that you can do. Where in your relationships are you the fixer? Where are you the mother? Where are you the nurturer? Where do you do that in your friendship dynamics? Where do you make yourself smaller, more digestible, easier to be around, easier to conversate with, when in reality, you're an opinionated, highly fucking capable, successful, driven fucking woman? Where do you pretend to be suffering? Where do you pretend to be relatable so that people come to you for solutions and support? Where are you pretending like those dynamics are fulfilling? You don't have to stay in situations. You don't have to fight till the death, right? You don't actually have to give your be all end all into every single person, every single thing you do if it's draining your energy. Just because you watched your mother doing it and your grandma and their fucking mums doesn't mean you have to do the same. And one of the biggest lessons I learned about moving away from this eldest daughter identity is being a selfish fucking bitch. Oh, I'm so selfish. I'm so selfish and I love it. No, you can't contact me unannounced. No, I'm not helping you navigate that fucking breakup for the 14th time in a row. No, I'm not listening to you talk about all the things you want to do with your life while actioning nothing. Because then I feel this insatiable need to help you achieve that. And then I'm going to put all of the time, energy, money, and resources that I would consciously be putting into my dreams, my aspirations, my goals, my life, into yours. And then as a result, because it naturally happens, your life is going to get so much fucking better. and then I'm just going to be drained again. And that is the loop that so many fucking daughters fall into, especially eldest daughters, firstborn granddaughters, like for like first generation daughters. That's what you fall into. And then we wonder like why we feel angry and why we feel resentful and why we feel tired all the time. Why you feel like life is just this constant uphill battle. It's because none of it is actually catered to your benefit, your success, your dreams. It's only existing. You've only created that thing or put energy into that thing to support other people. Now, I'm not saying you can't support people in your life. If that's the takeaway you're getting from this, read the fucking room, right? But two truths can coexist at once. You can be a loving, caring, compassionate, so empathetic, right? You can be all of those beautiful things and you can still choose yourself. And you can still go, not my circus, not my monkeys. And I genuinely believe that unlearning that core value that you were raised into is the most liberating thing you can do. Be an inconvenience, disappoint people, enter your selfish villain era. Show yourself that you are no longer going to disappoint you and disappoint others. Let people down. Let people drown. This is something my therapist said to me because there was a time in my life where I genuinely believed that if I didn't interfere with this person's life, right, they would die. People could not function without Ren. People could not see the light without Ren. And that obviously fueled a huge fucking savior complex in me. I was like, gang, I'm so important, all of these things. Now I let you drown. Learn to fucking swim. I had to. No one fucking taught me. Do the same. Learn to be your own support system. Learn to be your own fucking bodyguard, best friend, all of those things. It's about letting people have consequences for their actions. And as an eldest daughter, that's an extremely difficult thing to do because you naturally feel so responsible for people's existence. You naturally feel so responsible for people's life. But it's not your responsibility. And this dynamic plays out a lot in relationships. A lot of women, so many conversations that I have had in my time is about women who are like, I genuinely feel like I was his mum. I was her mum. And if I leave them, if I let them go, if I let my best friend struggle, if I let her fall on her face, then I'm abandoning my child. That is actually how deep this shit runs. Because you feel this responsibility to keep people happy, sane, alive, reaching their potential. You know, you never want people to suffer the way that you suffered. So you never want to see that in people. But here's the thing, and this is something my therapist said to me, that's their life lesson. What if you're taking away the most important lesson of their life, which is them saving themselves? That for me changed everything. Because what if that is their thing? What if that's the hardest thing they'll go through is that rock bottom and you didn't save them this time and they figured it out on their own? And they then built a backbone, self-confidence, self-respect, self-worth, determination. And they finally made something of themselves based on their own willpower because you didn't step in. Now imagine if you did step in and that just perpetuated the same cycle of them being a victim in their experience. Ren saving the day. No more issues, pattern repeats. What if you didn't do that this time? And I actually challenge you for the entire week moving forward. Don't save anyone. Don't save anyone. See how many of your relationship dynamics crumble. See how many people are angry and disappointed and feel frustrated that you're not there to save them from the burning building that they set fire to. It will be such an eye-opening experience for you as an eldest daughter, as a parentified child, to actually see that in those moments, People don't actually know how to value you, love you, respect you, or reciprocate the love, attention, validation that you are wanting, that you are giving if you don't help them. You then learn who's actually in your corner and who is just benefiting from you saving the day. Either way, it's such an important fucking life lesson. And it is not spoken about enough, because when you choose yourself, that doesn't benefit other people's experience. It actually takes away from them getting an easy run in life. And you would be shocked at how many people switch up when you just go, that's not my problem. And yeah, you're going to feel a little bit fucking guilty. And there'll probably be a bit of shame, and you'll probably feel like the worst person in the world for a couple of days. And then what you're going to feel is this insatiable relief. Finally. Oh, my energy's not being drained. I don't have to help this person. I don't have to solve this. I'm worthy. I'm enough existing. I'm lovable existing. I don't have to fix. I don't have to solve. I don't have to problem solve. I don't have to show you how to find the fucking light in the dark tunnel because you can't find the fucking flashlight. That's not my job. And when you take that role off your shoulders, you finally realize what you fucking want in this world. You realize what your dreams, your desires, your aspirations actually are, and you finally have the energy to fulfill them. And that's what life is all about. But we can't do that if we're so attached to the identity of being the eldest daughter, the fixer, the problem solver. So hear me when I fucking say it. Let people drown. Let people burn in the building that they set fire to. Consequences have actions, and it's really important that you realize as an adult, we know what we are doing. It's not your job, and there is no amount of saving, nurturing, holding space, rescuing that you can do which will actually change someone's life. They need to do that for themselves. So imagine a world where there's no resentment, there's no frustration, there's no anger, you're not being emotionally drained by your relationships, your friendships, your family dynamics. There's a world where that exists. But as a result of that, you have to disappoint people. And that will challenge you being good at everything, being the perfect daughter, being the good girl. And that's a whole other lesson to go through. But that is why understanding that identities need to change, shift, and evolve is so fucking important. Because yes, it's worked for you to a point, and now it's draining your energy and your absolute life force. And we can tell because we've both been there and we both know how that feels. And you deserve so much fucking better than that. Okay? So, just to reiterate, you are worthy if you don't fix people. You are worthy without saving people. You are lovable even just existing. And let that be enough. Let that be enough. Otherwise, you're always going to chase feeling wanted and needed and to be important. And you're going to miss out on the most beautiful part of being alive, which is living and fulfilling your fucking dreams and desires. And it has to be said. Now, my iPad is dying. So I'm going to love you and leave you here. But just know that your identity will shift. And if you're feeling that pull between old you versus new you, I need you to grab this bitch by the fucking balls, by the clitoris, and jump. Get out of the eldest daughter identity and go be something. Go make something of yourself. Because being the good girl who wins awards for being the easiest, most tolerable bitch on the fucking planet is boring. And you are so much better than that. Okay? I love you. I'll see you soon.